My friends, whenever a couple celebrates their silver or gold wedding anniversary, you will always find the male partner claiming more than his share of credit for the enduring partnership. You will hear him say that it was his patience, his tolerance, his kindness, his fortitude that steered the marriage through the shoals and rocks of marital life to the calm harbor of a happy jubilee. The wife receives at best some vague citations for having inspired him to these grand achievements. Tonight, on this golden jubilee of the feminist movement of the Philippines, I am sorely tempted to take this same selfish line and claim for the men of this country. Far more credit than they deserve for the amazing advances that have been made by the women in enhancing their social, economic, and political situation. It seems so easy to say that after all these blessings were dispensed by these men who ruled this country exclusively until the grant of suffrage to the women in the late 30s. But this would be a most superficial and unjust verdict on the feminist movement of the past half century. The truth shines bright and clear underneath. The truth that it was your patience, your courage, your fortitude, your unflagging determination that have won for yourselves the victories that you celebrate today. And it is my pleasure and privilege to salute you on this happy occasion. It was in the sphere of political action where the feminist movement scored its most significant gains. One of its brightest hours was that day in 1937 when nearly 500,000 women fired to zealous action by suffragette leaders, many of whom are with us tonight, won in a plebiscite in the precious right to vote and hold office for all qualified women of the Philippines. You may justly be proud of what you have done with this right and its attendant responsibilities ever since. Women have held the highest offices with distinction and competence. Our women voters now number almost as many as the men, as they certainly need not yield to the men in earnestness of purpose, which they take their political responsibilities. There is not the slightest doubt that the women will continue to grow as a potent political force in this country. I, for one, do not hesitate to give them major credit for the victory of the cause and principles which we espoused in the last elections. The Filipino woman is today the most advanced woman in this part of the world, socially, economically, and politically. There is as much as this to celebrate tonight. All of you who have done so much for so long to make this possible may rightly feel proud and gratified. I ask you to remember that all this could have been gained and achieved only in a free society. In a police state, the iron rule is to restrict and to contract, not to expand the frontiers of freedom. The less rights and powers are ceded to the citizenry, the less danger there is that those powers may be overthrown. You have reached the eminence of free and dignified citizens because you had staked your claims for civil and political rights in the favorable climate to see to it that our free institutions are preserved and strengthened against whatever threat that you may continue in the tranquil exercise and enjoyment of those hard-won rights. Aside from this, I address you to another bigger challenge yet. Your successes following the pattern of events of the past half century in our country have been felt chiefly in the cities and urban centers. They have hardly caused a ripple in the rural areas, where so many of our women continue to live in conditions of ignorance and primitive living, not far removed from those which had prevailed all over when you began the good fight to reform them 50 years ago. I ask you to direct your efforts and extend your assistance to the women of the rural areas. I know that you can effectively supplement and reinforce the administration's efforts in this field. You can help and instruct in so many activities, in the proper care and education of children, in healthful living, in cottage industries, in literacy campaigns, in increasing the production of farms, and in political action. You can guide them to new heights of social, political, and economical achievement. It is my firm belief that the final test of whether we shall have succeeded or failed will depend ultimately on how well or badly we had fared in bringing progress to the vast majority of our people who live in the farms and barrios. I ask you to accept the same standard by which to measure your works and progress henceforth. Judging by the record of the past 50 years, I have no doubt that your performance on this new mission shall be as richly hailed and applauded 50 years hence.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to Market Talk events. While you're at it, please check out our other social media sites.